Righto, so for this tutorial, I'll be doing single crochets for you. Now, I'll be using a nice thick cotton yarn and a 5mm hook. So it's nice and easy for you to be able to see what I'm doing. Righto, for this tutorial, I'll be doing a quick slip knot and I'll chain up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you want to see these in depth, just go down to the description and click the link. To start our single crochets, you need to understand where each individual loop begins. See how there's a V section? So this is where we're going to be going through for each individual. So this is chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm just going to hold this nice and firm and I'll show you with a smaller hook. So see these V sections? These indicate where our chains are. So this will be our first chain. This will be our second chain. This will be our third chain, fourth chain, fifth chain, sixth chain, seventh chain, and so on. So I've got 10 in total. Now, when we're doing this, we want to be following this loop of the chain and going through that loop. And that is where we start our stitches for our single crochet. So we angle it down and we go through. Following that stitch, going through. Following the next stitch, going through. So each time we're going through, following that bottom loop of the stitch. So this is the top loop, this is the bottom loop. So that'll be the first stitch from the hook, the second stitch following that bottom loop, third stitch from the hook, fourth stitch from the hook, fifth stitch from the hook, sixth stitch from the hook, seventh stitch from the hook. Every single time we're following these bottom loops to indicate where we're inserting our hook. So we have the V, and the little opening here is where you want to insert your hook. I'll show you that properly with the big hook. Now I'll bring it up. So we're going to chain 1 to start our row, and then in the second loop of our chain from the hook, we're going to start our single crochet. So following this loop here, we go through, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, we have 2 loops on the hook, and we pull through those 2 loops. So again, following this loop at the bottom, so this was the one we just followed, this is the next one, we want to follow that, going through the loop, yarning over, pulling up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. So again, I'll show you that a little bit closer. This is the loop we want to follow, going through, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through those 2. So I'll show you that at a different angle. So this is the loop that we're following, and we push through, yarn over, and pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through those 2. So following the next loop, going through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Following that loop, going through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So following the loop, going through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, oh, it's a bit loose, pull through 2. Following the loop, going down, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So the last couple, we get nice and close. So this is the loop we're following. So we follow that downwards, going through that chain loop, yarn over. Sorry, I'll bring that back into focus, sorry. So we want to follow that down, going through that chain loop, yarn over, pull up the loop. We have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and we pull through those 2. So again, following that loop, we want to go through, loop on the hook, yarn over, pull through that loop. Now we have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through those 2. Now we want to chain 1. So that gives us 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and our chain stitch that we just did. Now we turn our work. We're going to do our second row of single crochets. So much like before, we're going to have little V sections. So this is where this little opening bit is what we were going to be inserting into. So this is the little V section, and each little V section will tell you where our first, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 stitches. So this little loop here, is what we're going to be inserting our hook into, and that's the little V section at the top there. So you want to make sure you get underneath both of these stitches when we're doing each individual stitch. And you'll have the 2 stitches on either side. So these two little stitches on either side, and that's the center. So these are the 2 stitches. That's our single crochet. So also a way to think about it is that's 1 stitch. So this bit here is 1 stitch. This is our 2nd stitch. This is our 3rd stitch. This is our 4th stitch. This is our 5th stitch. 6th stitch, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Okay, so this is our 1st stitch, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10. And from the top, I'll show you this from the top. So this is our 1st stitch, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th is always going to be difficult because it will be a little bit skewed, but I'll explain that when we get to it. So making sure when we're going through our 1st stitch, we're going behind both of these chains. Turn our work. We've already chained up the 1, so we go through that little opening of the first stitch, pull up a stitch, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and then pull through 2. So that's our 1st stitch. Now in the 2nd stitch, again we go through that loop, like that little hole in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then into the 3rd stitch, going through that little opening, I'll bring it up nice and close. We're going through, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So into the 4th stitch, into this little opening, we go through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Into the 5th stitch, so this nice little opening, go through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'll show you this at a different angle as best as I can. So we're going through those stitches here, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over again, So I'll try to, and then we pull through those 2 loops. So again, I'll try to do it in a different direction. Going through those 2 loops, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and then we pull through those 2 loops. So I'll show you it again. Going through that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. Again, at a different angle, going through this stitch here. So I'll show that one more time. Going through that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and we pull through those 2. So the last one's always difficult because the V kind of gets a bit twisted. So we want to make sure we get both of those loops of the final stitch. But you can always tell because it's got this little weird kind of like a knot looking type of V at the end of the V, I mean. So we go through that, pull up the loop. So I'll show you that at a different angle. So see how the V kind of angles down? You want to get behind both of them. Like so. And then we pull up our loop. So chain. So I'll show you this again. In our first stitch, we go through the loop, opening, pull up a loop. We have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and we pull through those 2. So again, going into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then we pull through the 2 loops on the hook. Into our next stitch, going through. So this is the stitch. I'm going to go through that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Going through the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. Going through the next stitch, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'll bring it up a bit closer. So going through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Going through the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2. Going through the next stitch, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Going to the next stitch, pull through 2. And then finally, as always, the last stitch is always difficult, but I'll have this little loop that kind of goes in a crossword section to the V. So that's what we want to be crocheting behind. Ooh, make sure we got all of it. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then we chain up 1. So I'll show you this one more time. Through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Going through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Going through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So through this loop here, or this stitch I should say, not loop, going through the stitch, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through those 2. So going through the stitch, pulling up a loop, yarn over, we're pulling up 2. Going through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Show this definite angle, going through, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. So going through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Going through this stitch here, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. And then our last one, remembering that this one's always difficult, and that completes our next row. Thanks for stopping in. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. I hope you stop in again next time. Bye bye!